wish to dwell.
Number 1. It all began when my 13-year-old daughter Lily and I went to New Jersey in the summer of 2013. We were visiting my sister Judith and her new husband for the summer. Their house isn't like those old creepy houses with cobwebs hanging in the doorway. It's a beautiful 2-story house that was just built the year before. I suspected nothing would ever go wrong until I met my sister's husband's, Ryan's, cousin, who was staying with them until he got over his major cocaine addiction. I never let my daughter go near him or stray out of my sight. Lily is a bright, beautiful, and charming young girl, but her fatal flaw is that she is always too trusting of the people around her. As a mom, that adds to my list of reasons that I'm so protective over her. The summer was starting out great. The house had a large pool that was wonderful because it was indoors. The house formed a sort of courtyard around the pool, and it was where we lounged on the chairs and enjoyed summer. It was about 2 weeks later when Lily was swimming in the pool. It was just us there, and I was sitting at the edge of the pool when I saw Ryan's cousin staring down at Lily from one of the windows. I was literally freaking the heck out. I grabbed Lily and wrapped a towel quickly around her. My motherly instincts kept telling me something was wrong about that man, and I'll never forget the way he looked at my daughter. In the weeks to come, bad things began to occur. Lily wasn't the same at all. She would mumble nonsense words and didn't like to go out of the room either. One night, I decided to go see her. I opened her room door and she was gone. It was late and I frantically searched the house for her. When I passed Greg's, which is Ryan's cousin's room, I heard Lily's voice from inside. I slowly turned the knob and saw the scariest thing in my entire life. Lily was lying on the floor in only her underclothes, and Greg was reading from an old leather book in a language I've never heard before. Just as I opened my mouth to yell bloody murder, a dark mass collected and hovered over, growing larger with each second. I bolted towards Lily, swooped her up in my arms, and ran out to my car as fast as I possibly could. As I was putting a blanket over her, I heard her whispering, Book of Demons, over and over again. As long as Greg is still there, I refuse to visit Judith at that house. Days later, I had Lily blessed by a priest, and since then, not once did she ever mutter, Book of Demons. Number 2. In 2007, I briefly separated from my husband. He had serious drug issues, and I got tired of the stress and lying. A friend of mine was moving to Wisconsin. He offered to help me get out of Florida. I had 3 teenage kids who were also ready to start a new life, so I took him up on his offer. I had a small car and signed it over to my husband because I couldn't get it to Green Bay. We left in mid-August and arrived in Green Bay 17 hours later. My friend had rented a home for us and we settled in. It was in a perfect neighborhood. We couldn't be happier. One day in September, my kids went to a park that was at the end of the street. I was home alone just enjoying my new life. I had the front door open and the storm door closed and locked. Then there was a knock at the door. As I turned from the kitchen and took a step toward the door, the strongest feeling of doom overcame me. I was filled with terror. I stopped for a moment in my tracks. Another knock came from the door, and I found myself suddenly standing in front of it. Standing on the top step were 2 boys, maybe 12 to 13 years old. The terror inside me was so strong that I wanted to vomit. I was shaking when I began to speak, but one of the boys spoke first. Please, miss, can you let us in? We need to use your phone. The fear was palpable. But I answered, Don't you guys have a phone? They both turned to each other, not saying a word. Then the boy spoke, changing the question matter. Please, miss, my brother needs to use your bathroom. We won't hurt you. You don't have to worry. Please give us permission to come in. I said, "No, I don't think so. There's a gas station on the next corner." The boy's head tilted upward and his eyes were just two deep, dark pools, soulless. The other boy also looked at me. "Miss, we need to come in. Now. Let us in." I said, "No." I slammed the door shut and locked the knob, the chain, and the deadbolt. I was shaking like I had been in a very cold room. I looked out the peephole and they were both looking at the door. The one boy kept saying, "Please let us in. We are cold." How cold can they be? It's 80 degrees outside. I yelled through the door, "Go away! I'm going to call the police." I looked out and they stood there and only stepped off the stairs when my boys came walking up the sidewalk. I watched as the boys got to the end of the walkway and turned into the opposite direction of which my boys were coming. They ran up to the door and were surprised to find it locked. I carefully unlocked it and hurried them in, then locked it behind them. They asked me who the kids were, and I told them that they were just kids selling candy for their schools. After that day, I tried to stay aware of what is around me. All I know is that what I experienced was something out of a movie. It traumatized me and I sleep with the lights on. I didn't tell my kids until my youngest, a girl, had graduated high school. My oldest son said that the moment they had stepped onto the sidewalk where our house was, he felt a weird feeling in the pit of his stomach. He also admitted that he had seen the both of them down on the walking trail, but never since. Every time I think of it, I get sick. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, be dreadful of things that happen in the night.